A very good Friday afternoon to all our viewers out there. You're watching Lunchtime News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Bringing you the news this afternoon, I'm Mariam Vijaya. Before we head on to our bulletin, I would like to wish everyone celebrating a very happy Thai Pongal. Let's now take a look at our headlines for this afternoon.
Ministry of Power says complaint was handed over to the IGP to conduct an investigation into the recent breakdowns at power plants. 100 days since the April 21st attacks. Special mass remembering the victims. Special prayer requesting solutions for the power, fertilizer and gas crisis in the country. 14 train journeys cancelled today as well.
Let's start off with your lead story this afternoon. Hindu devotees across the world are celebrating Thai Pongal today. The Thai Pongal festival is dedicated to the Hindu sun god to pay gratitude for the energy that the sun bestows upon the earth to successfully carry out agricultural activities. According to the Hindu calendar, the first month is known as Thai and Pongal refers to the dawn, which means Thai Pongal is the dawn of the new year. A specialty of this festival is that the Hindus celebrate Thai Pongal by offering the first portion of the harvest to the sun with wishes for prosperity. The Thai Pongal festival, which is largely connected to the nature, is prioritized by the Hindus. One of the main traditions of the Thai Pongal festival is the preparation of Pongal rice by combining the newly harvested rice, cane, milk rice together with a piece of turmeric to be offered to the divine sun. Meanwhile, a ceremony to celebrate the Thai Pongal festival was held at the office of the opposition leader this morning. Religious observances were carried out during the ceremony under the auspices of opposition leader Sajid Premadasa. In the light of the Thai Pongal festival, religious ceremonies were conducted at the Kappidavatta Sri Kailasanadar Swami Kovil in Maradana. The estate sector people in the central province celebrated Thai Pongal this morning while prioritizing religious observances. The religious observances of the Thai Pongal festival were held at the Sri Manika Pillayar Kovil in Hatton today in adherence to health guidelines. A special puja ceremony was held at the Munneswaram Ishwara Kovil in Chilao today in light of the Thai Pongal festival as well. The number of devotees had reduced in comparison to past years. Hindu devotees in the Trincomalee district also celebrated the Thai Pongal festival. Issuing a message for the Thai Pongal festival, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said it is the aspiration of the majority of Sri Lankans to see success of the national policy for a green agriculture. The President also noted that he firmly believes this Thai Pongal season will provide much inspiration towards achieving this aim. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, in his message on the occasion of the Thai Pongal Day, said it is his belief that the meaning of Thai Pongal will also be of great help in achieving the noble goal of returning to the world as a prosperous country. Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa, in his wishes for Thai Pongal, said, at a time when there is an acute need for more and more intimacy with nature, cultural festivals such as Thai Pongal, which are associated with nature, necessarily becomes more and more meaningful. The opposition leader hopes that this Thai Pongal Day be a devotional and joyous day that pays homage to human beings, animals and nature. In more local news this afternoon, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation has agreed to provide 1,500 metric tons of fuel for the 2 power generating units at the Kalinithissa power plant that ran out of diesel and are currently inactive.
ජනවාරි මාසයේ සඳහා විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලයට ඩීසල් ලබා
We do not have plans to provide diesel for the Ceylon Electricity Board for the month of January. Not only diesel, we did not have plans to provide furnace oil either, because over the past 2 to 3 months, the Ceylon Electricity Board, the Ministry of Power, the Ministry of Energy and the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation held a series of discussions. During the discussions, we only identified the furnace oil requirement, which needs to be met from the beginning of February. However, based on their plans, 300 megawatt power was lost due to a sudden failure at the Nurachole power plant, leading to the requirement of diesel. We plan to provide the diesel imports only from the month of February. However, we discussed about this emergency requirement and accordingly they should pay for the fuel to be imported in the future to provide the required stocks of fuel. The Ceylon Electricity Board owes us a huge amount of dues. Nevertheless, we have planned to provide the fuel required for the generation of electricity under several phases. However, we were not in a position to provide fuel as soon as they submitted a request yesterday. We will provide the required fuel starting from today and it could be used from today or tomorrow by the CEB. Accordingly, they will take measures to ensure the supply of electricity. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation cannot take any responsibility for the power outage yesterday because that was a sudden request and based on our infrastructure, we don't have the ability of providing fuel as soon as they request.
කීමක් ගන්න බෑ මොකද ඒක හදිසියේ ඉල්ලීමක් හදිසියේ ඉල්ලපු මොහොතෙම ආපහු ඉඳ ලබා දීමේ අපේ තියෙන යටිතල පාසුකම් එක්ක අපිට හදිසියේ ඉල්ලන මොහොතේ අපිට ලබා දීමේ හැකියාවක් අපිට නැහැ.
Now, Additional General Manager at the Ceylon Electricity Board, Andrew Navamani, says the 2 power stations at the Kalinitissa power plant that ran out of diesel could be reactivated once the fuel stocks are provided. He says the power supply could be restored if there are no issues with any other power stations connected to the national grid. According to Navamani, the provided fuel is only sufficient for 2 days. Therefore, more fuel stocks must be provided to the Kalinitissa power plant expeditiously. Power cuts were reported in multiple areas across the country after 2 power stations at the Kalinitissa power plant ran out of diesel and became inactive yesterday afternoon. Minister of Power Gamini Lokuge said a complaint was handed over to the Inspector General of Police to conduct an investigation into the recent breakdowns at power plants. Minister Lokuge said a committee of experts has also been appointed to investigate the disruptions to power supply reported from various parts of the country. The committee of experts is headed by Secretary to the Ministry of Power, Vasanta Pereira.
The President, Prime Minister and the government are facing challenges without a problem. There are many issues. Solutions must be provided to them. When the COVID-19 pandemic arose, nobody spoke of power outages and fuel. They spoke of COVID-19 back then. The gas crisis, queues for milk powder and electricity crisis are challenges. As a government, we can't shy away from challenges. We must face them. That is why the people have elected a president. Therefore, we will face these challenges and overcome them. There is a major crisis in the country at present. We have to conduct this media briefing in the dark. People are forced to use lamps rather than electricity. People are unable to use gas cylinders. Vehicles don't have fuel. There is a risk of us losing the valuable oil tanks and the natural Trincomalee harbour. The parliament is closed. Provincial council tenures has been extended. They have subdued the people's mandate by not holding provincial council elections. They are trying to sell the national assets after disregarding the people's mandate. They closed parliament so that they can give away the national assets to China, India, America and to their close associates. If you look at our history, we were invaded by the Portuguese, Dutch and the British. Similarly, the Chinese, Indians and the Americans are trying to make this country a colony. This must be put to an end immediately. The dollar reserves in the country are being sold off. This is embarrassing.
අද රටේ තියෙන සංචිත ප්‍රමාණය විකුණගෙන කනවා ලැජ්ජයි.
ණය අර්බුදයට ඕන විසඳුමක්. මේ ඩොලර් ප්‍රශ්නෙට ඕන විසඳුමක්.
Solutions must be given to the debt crisis, dollar crisis, fertilizer crisis and to agriculture issues. We need permanent solutions rather than temporary solutions. How do they resort to solutions? They are justifying it to the people by highlighting the dollar crisis and saying there is nothing left but to sell off the oil tanks. They are the ones who created this crisis. Both of these governments bragged about loans. They don't accept responsibility when people are suffering. They brag when obtaining loans. They sell assets when they are unable to settle the debt. This is a trap. Everyone saw the gas explosions. Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Bhutan, Nepal and Maldives has LP gas. It's not just in Sri Lanka. Gas cylinders should have exploded in those countries as well. Why are they exploding only in this country? Without seeing any fertilizer, our farmers paid $6.7 million as compensation. But the financial crisis is more serious. We call them white-collar crimes.
White-collar crime. මේ වන විට අති දුර්වල රාජ්‍ය පාලනයක් තුල ඒ වගේම COVID වසංගතයේ
At this point, due to the poor state leadership and the spread of the COVID-19 virus, a disappointing and a tragic situation has been created in the country. Especially the Samagi Jana Balawegya is leading this program to modernize the youth of the community in particular as pioneers in the massive national effort to rebuild the country. Through this program, the youth will be mobilized under a policy framework by involving them in the journey of leading the country towards providing fresh solutions to the prevailing crisis. The opposition leader shared these remarks at the opening ceremony of the Samagi Vihidum Balaganaya at the Samagi Jana Balawegya office in Pitakotte. A prayer was conducted at the Ganadevi temple in Hingurakketha seeking compensation for the destroyed agriculture cultivations, the sale of the country's strategic locations, gas explosions and the power cuts. The prayer was organized by the Samagi Jana Balawegya. The Minister of Energy and the Minister of Power are making different statements. After mentioning that there will not be any power, they disrupted the power supply, causing inconveniences to the people. And this also affects the students sitting for the grade 5 scholarship examinations next week.
Meanwhile, the Department of Railways says 14 train journeys were cancelled today due to the token strike launched by the Railway Station Masters Association yesterday. General Manager of Railways Dhammika Jayasundara says accordingly several train journeys along the Kalani Valley Railway line have been cancelled in this manner. Moreover, Jayasundara adds that 4 train journeys each along the Chalao and coastal railway lines were also cancelled. The Department of Railways is also exploring the possibility of taking legal action with regard to the unannounced token strike that was launched by the Railway Station Masters Association yesterday, causing severe inconveniences to the passengers. Now shifting your attention to the COVID situation from across the globe. The World Health Organization has added 2 more drugs to its guidelines for recommended treatment for COVID-19 as the more infectious Omicron variant triggers an unprecedented surge in cases around the world.
The UN agency's panel of international experts said in the guidelines the drug baricitinib, which is also used to treat rheumatoid arthritis, is strongly recommended for patients with severe or critical COVID-19 in combination with corticosteroid. The drug reduces the need for ventilation and had been found to improve patients' chances of survival with no sign of an increase in adverse reactions. The new treatment recommendations come as the pandemic accelerates worldwide. More than 15 million new cases of COVID-19 were reported to the WHO, by far the most in a single week.
Also in developments from the U.S. Supreme Court has blocked President Joe Biden's rule requiring workers at large companies to be vaccinated or masked and tested weekly.
The justices at the nation's highest court said the mandate exceeded Biden's administration's authority. Separately, they ruled that a more limited vaccine mandate could stand for a staff at government-funded healthcare facilities. The administration said the mandates would help fight the pandemic. President Biden, whose approval rating has been sagging, expressed disappointment with the decision to block common-sense life-saving requirements for employees. He added, quote, "I call on business leaders to immediately join those who have already stepped up, including 1/3 of Fortune 100 companies, and institute vaccination requirements to protect their workers, customers and communities," end quote. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump cheered the court's decision and said vaccine mandates would, quote, "further destroy the economy," end quote.
Still in news overseas, the Buckingham Palace says the Duke of York's military titles and royal patronages have been returned to the Queen. Foreign media reported that Prince Andrew, aged 61, will also stop using the style His Royal Highness in an official capacity. It comes as he faces a US civil action over claims he has consistently denied. According to foreign media, a source close to the Duke said he would continue to defend himself against the case brought in New York by Virginia Jeffrey. Its source insisted a judge's ruling on Wednesday that the civil action could proceed was not a judgment on the merits of Jeffrey's allegations. Taking a look back at some local news making headlines this afternoon. Today marks 1,000 days since the 2019 April 21st attacks. A special mass was conducted today in commemoration of the victims of the April 21st attacks.
A mass named as the National Prayer was conducted at the Basilica of Our Lady Church in Tevattaragama in remembrance of the victims of the April 21st attacks. A special mass was organized by the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Sri Lanka, requesting that justice be served to the victims of the April 21st attacks. The story regarding the bombs that exploded on the 21st of April 2019 is over now. However, the bomb that is exploding now is one where truth is being revealed despite the attempts by those in power to sweep this under the carpet by pinning the full responsibility on the extremists. How many people tried to conceal this truth? However, were they able to do this? No matter how many attempts are made to bury this truth deep, it will return to the surface like a rubber ball being forced to sink. It is clear this attack was a conspiracy. Even though they had prior knowledge regarding this attack by extremists, they allowed it to be carried out and on the other hand, attempted to block the attempts to prevent the attacks because certain political leaders wanted to use the attacks for political gains.
And with that, we wrap up this edition of Lunchtime News here on TV1. Your next hourly bulletin will come your way at 1:55. Until then, stay safe and take care.